Point Break is a 1991 American action crime thriller film directed by Kathryn Bigelow, starring Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, Lori Petty and Gary Busey. The title refers to the surfing term point break, where a wave breaks as it hits a point of land jutting out from the coastline. Reeves stars as rookie FBI agent Johnny Utah, who is investigating a string of bank robberies possibly being committed by surfers. Johnny goes undercover to infiltrate the surfing community and develops a complex friendship with Buddy, the charismatic leader of a gang of surfers. The film was a box office success upon its release, with an $83.5 million gross and a budget of $24 million. Plot: Johnny Utah is a former Ohio State Buckeyes quarterback and rookie FBI agent. He is assigned to assist experienced agent and veteran, Angelo Pappas, in investigating a string of bank robberies by the ex-presidents, a gang of robbers that wear face masks depicting former U.S. Presidents Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, Lyndon B. Johnson, and Jimmy Carter to disguise their true identities. They only raid the cash drawers in the banks that they rob, never going for the vault, and are out within 90 seconds. Pursuing Pappas' theory that the criminals are surfers, Utah goes undercover to infiltrate the surfing community. He concocts a story to persuade orphaned surfer Tyler Endicott to teach him to surf, she having saved him from drowning. Through her he meets Buddy, the charismatic leader of a gang of surfers comprising Roach, Gromit, and Nathaniel. The group are initially wary of Utah, but accept him when Buddy recognizes him as the former college football star. As he masters the art of surfing, Utah finds himself increasingly drawn to the surfer's adrenaline-charged lifestyle, Buddy's philosophies, and Tyler. Following a clue retrieved by analyzing toxins found in the hair of one of the bank robbers, Utah and Pappas lead an FBI raid on another gang of surfers. Despite their criminal records, these surfers turn out to not be the ex-presidents, and the raid inadvertently ruins a undercover operation. Watching Buddy's group surfing, Utah begins to suspect that they are the ex-presidents. Noting how close a group they are and the way one of them moons everyone in the same manner one of the robbers does when leaving a bank, he tails Buddy, and his suspicions are confirmed when he sees Buddy and Roach casing a bank. Utah and Pappas stake out the bank, and the ex-presidents appear. Buddy, wearing a Reagan mask, leads Utah on a furious foot chase through the neighborhood, which ends when Utah, by jumping into an aqueduct, causes the knee injury that ended his playing career to flare up again. Despite having a clear shot at Buddy, Utah cannot bring himself to shoot, instead unloading his magazine into the sky in frustration, and Buddy escapes. At a campfire that night, it is confirmed that Buddy and his gang are the ex-presidents. Their primary motivation is not profit, but rebelling against the system that kills the human spirit. Knowing Utah's true identity, most of the gang want out, but Buddy refuses to fold. The next morning, Tyler discovers Utah's secret and breaks up with him. Shortly afterwards, Buddy aggressively recruits Utah into going skydiving with the group. Utah, still without proof of Buddy's crimes, acquiesces. After the jump, Buddy reveals that he knows Utah is an FBI agent and has arranged for his friend Rosie, a non-surfing thug, to hold Tyler hostage. Utah is thus blackmailed into participating in the ex-president's last bank robbery of the summer. During the robbery, Buddy breaks his own rule by going for the money in the vault, taking too much time. As a result, Gromit, along with an off-duty police officer and a security guard, who both try to stop the robbery, are killed. Angered by Gromit's death and by having to kill the police officer, Buddy knocks Utah out and leaves him at the scene. Defying their senior officer, Pappas and Utah go to the airport where Buddy, Roach, and Nathaniel are about to leave for Mexico, where Rosie is awaiting them with Tyler. During a shootout, Pappas and Nathaniel are killed, and Roach is seriously wounded. The pilot reveals the group's destination within Utah's earshot, jeopardizing their escape plans. With Roach aboard, Body forces Utah onto the plane at gunpoint. Once airborne and over their intended drop zone, Body and Roach put on the parachutes and jump from the plane, leaving Utah to take the blame again. With no other parachutes available, Utah jumps from the plane with Body's gun and intercepts him before he lands. But Body forces Utah to drop the gun so he can open the parachute and land safely. Upon impact, Utah's knee gives out again, allowing Body to escape Utah's grasp. Body meets with Rosie and releases Tyler. Roach dies of his wounds and Body and Rosie leave with the money. 9 months later, a long-haired Utah still surfing tracks down Body at Bells Beach in Victoria, Australia, where a record storm is producing lethal waves. This is an event Body had talked about experiencing, calling it the 50-year storm. Utah attempts to bring Body into custody, but Body refuses. During a brawl in the surf, Utah manages to handcuff himself to Body. Body begs Utah to release him so he can ride the once-in-a-lifetime wave. Knowing Body will not come back alive, Utah releases him, bids him farewell and sees him step towards the wave. While the authorities watch Body surf to his death, Utah walks away, throwing his FBI badge into the ocean. Cast: Patrick Swayze as Body, Keanu Reeves as FBI agent Johnny Utah, Gary Busey as FBI agent Angelo Pappas, Lori Petty as Tyler Endicott, John C. McGinley as FBI agent Ben Harp, James Legros as Roach, John Filborn as Nathaniel, Bo Jesser, Christopher as Gromit, Lee Turgeson as Rosie, Julian Reyes as FBI agent Alvarez, Daniel Beer as FBI agent Babbitt, Vincent Klin as Lupton, Warchild, Pittman, Chris Pedersen as Bunker Vice, Dave Olson as Archbold, Anthony Kiedis as Tone, Christopher Petty at his 15, Sidney Walsh as Miss Deer, Peter Phelps as Australian Surfer, Tom Sizemore as D-Agent Dietz. Production. Originally, Matthew Broderick, Johnny Depp, Val Kilmer and Charlie Sheen were all considered to star in Point Break, playing the character Johnny Utah, with Ridley Scott directing. After acquiring the screenplay, the producers of Point Break began looking for a director. At the time, executive producer James Cameron was married to director Kathryn Bigelow, who had just completed Blue Steel and was looking for her next project. Point Break was originally called Johnny Utah when Keanu Reeves was cast in the title role. The studio felt that this title said very little about surfing, and by the time Patrick Swayze was cast, the film had been renamed Riders on the Storm after the famous rock song by The Doors. However, Jim Morrison's lyrics had nothing to do with the film, and so that title was also rejected. It was not until halfway through filming that Point Break became the film's title because of its relevance to surfing. Reeves and Swayze had appeared together once before, in the 1986 film Young Blood. Reeves liked the name of his character as it reminded him of star athletes like Johnny Unitas and Joe Montana. He described his character as a total control freak, and the ocean beats him up and challenges him. After a while everything becomes a game. He becomes as amoral as any criminal. He loses the difference between right and wrong. Swayze felt that Body was a lot like him and that they both shared that wild man edge. 2 months before filming, Lori Petty, Reeves, and Swayze trained with former world-class professional surfer Dennis Jarvis on the Hawaiian island of Kauai. Jarvis remembers, "Patrick said he'd been on a board a couple of times. Keanu definitely had not surfed before, and Lori had never been in the ocean in her life." Shooting the surfing sequences proved to be challenging for both actors, with Swayze cracking 4 of his ribs. For many of the surfing scenes he refused to use a stunt double as he never had one for fight scenes or car chases. He also did the skydiving scenes himself, and the film's aerial jump instructor Jim Wallace found that the actor was a natural and took to it right away. The actor ended up making 55 jumps for the film. Swayze actually based aspects of his character after one of his stunt doubles, Derek Turner, a top big wave surfer. After learning to surf for the film, Reeves took a liking to it and took it up as a hobby. Although the final scene of the film is set at Bells Beach, the scene was not filmed there. Bells Beach is a straight stretch and the beach in the film is a cove with spruce trees atop a hill. The actual location of the film was a beach called Indian Beach, in Ecola State Park, located in Cannon Beach, Oregon, USA. Soundtrack: Rat, Nobody Rides for Free, Concrete Blonde, I Want You, The Jimi Hendrix Experience, If 6 Was 9, School of Fish, Rose-Colored Glasses, Public Image Limited, Criminal, Shark Island, My City, Love, 7 and 7 Is, Loud House, Smoke on the Water, Westworld, So Long Cowboy, Little Caesar, Down to the Wire, LA, Guns, Over the Edge, Liquid Jesus, 7 and 7 Is, Wire Train, I Will Not Fall, Ice-T, Original Gangster, Mark Isham, Foot Chase, Sheryl Crow, Hundreds of Tears. Score album. On February 7, 2008, a score release for Point Break was released by La La Land Records, featuring composer Mark Isham's score. This edition was limited to 2,000 units and features 65 minutes of score with liner notes by Dan Goldwasser that incorporate comments from both Bigelow and Isham. It is now out of print. Reception. Box office. Point Break was released on July 12, 1991 in 1,615 theaters, grossing $8.5 million on its opening weekend, behind Terminator 2, Judgment Day's second weekend and the openings of the reissue of 101 Dalmatians and Boys in the Hood, with a budget of $24 million. The film went on to make $43.2 million in North America and $40.3 million internationally for a worldwide total of $83.5 million. Critical response. The film received mixed to positive reviews from critics. On review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 68% rating based on 57 reviews, with an average rating of 6.1/10. Metacritic reports a 58 out of 100 rating based on 20 reviews, indicating mixed or average reviews. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3.5 stars out of 4 and wrote, "Bigelow is an interesting director for this material. She is interested in the ways her characters live dangerously for philosophical reasons. They aren't men of action, but men of thought who choose action as a way of expressing their beliefs." In her review for the New York Times, Janet Maslin praised Reeves' performance. "A lot of the snap comes, surprisingly, from Mr. Reeves, who displays considerable discipline and range. He moves easily between the buttoned-down demeanor that suits a police procedural story and the loose-jointed manner of his comic roles." Entertainment Weekly gave the film a C+ rating, and Owen Gleiberman wrote, "Point Break makes those of us who don't spend our lives searching for the ultimate physical rush feel like second-class citizens. The film turns reckless athletic valor into a new form of aristocracy." In his review for The Washington Post, Hal Hinson wrote, "A lot of what Bigelow puts up on the screen bypasses the brain altogether, plugging directly into our viscera, our gut. The surfing scenes in particular are majestically powerful, even or inspiring. Bigelow's picture is a feast for the eyes, but we watch movies with more than our eyes. She seduces us, then asks us to be bimbos." Rolling Stone magazine's Peter Travers wrote, "Bigelow can't keep the film from drowning in a sea of surf speak, but without her, Point Break would be no more than an excuse to ogle pretty boys in wetsuits." USA Today gave the film 2 out of 4 stars and Mike Clark wrote, "It's purely visceral material, a first rate. As for the tangibles that matter even more, Break defies belief. Dramatically, it rivals The Lowest Surf Yet." This year, Time magazine's Richard Corliss wrote, So how do you rate a stunningly made film whose plot buys so blindly into macho mysticism that it threatens to turn into an endless bummer? Looks 10, brains 3. Some critics argue that the 2001 film The Fast and the Furious is a copy of Point Break, swapping surfing for illegal street car racing. In 2006, a special edition was released on DVD. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B rating and wrote, "The making of Docs will leave you hanging." It was first released on Blu-ray as a special, Pure Adrenaline edition, on July 1, 2008. But that was later discontinued. Point Break was re-released on Blu-ray by Warner Home Video on June 14, 2011. Accolades at the 1992 MTV Movie Awards. Point Break was nominated for 3 awards including Most Desirable Male, Most Desirable Male, and Best Action Sequence, for the second jump from the plane. In it, Utah jumps out of a plane without a parachute to catch Body and rescue Tyler. Utah catches up with Body and holds a gun to his head. However, Body refuses to pull the ripcord and Utah must decide between dropping his gun or letting the two fall to the ground. The film ultimately won Most Desirable Male for Keanu Reeves. Legacy. Point Break was listed in the VH1 series One Love the 90s on the episode 1991. Many celebrities, including Dominic Monaghan, Mo Rocca, Michael Ian Black, Hal Sparks, and Chris Pontius commented about the film and why it deserved to be included in the episode. Entertainment Weekly ranked Point Break as having one of the 10 best surfing scenes in cinema. The film inspired a piece of cult theater, Point Break Live, in which the role of Johnny Utah is played by an audience member chosen by popular acclamation after a brief audition. The new Keanu reads all of his lines from cue cards for the duration of the show, to capture the rawness of a Keanu Reeves performance even from those who generally think themselves incapable of acting. Point Break was referenced in Hot Fuzz, where the scene of Utah emptying his magazine into the sky in frustration is watched by the lead characters and later reenacted by Nick Frost's character. The scene in which Utah jumps after Body without a parachute was ranked 7th in Empire magazine's top 10 crazy action sequences. The scene was also tested by the Discovery Channel series Mythbusters. It was determined that Utah and Body would not have been able to free fall for 90 seconds, nor would they have been able to hold a conversation in mid-air. However, it was determined that, by streamlining his body, Utah could have conceivably caught up with Body after jumping from the plane. Remake. Alcon Entertainment and Warner Brothers are developing a remake of the film, written by Kurt Wimmer, and directed by Erickson Core. The film stars Luke Bracey, Ray Winston, and Edgar Ramirez. The film was released on December 25, 2015 to largely negative reviews.